the school district added one-to-one iPads, we had great growth in the district when it comes to coding and different things that I'm working on in the computer lab. But at Starside Elementary, we had a bit of a digital divide where we had the supplies, but we had a use divide to where the students didn't have the number of materials to where they can get their hands on it. They were in groups of 5, 6 with one object. Now they're in groups of like 2 or 3, so they have more use and therefore can get more repetition and more out of their technology education.
I think as a classroom teacher, as the year goes on, I'm going to be able to see my kids in my class be more innovative and even teach me some things.
Well, before, between not having a lot of items and not having the space for the items to move, it was a struggle for the kids who weren't getting their turn yet. With the really interesting object, it was difficult and led to a lot of classroom management issues with the students being on task in a separate area trying to do an alternate activity waiting their turn. And so there's a lot less classroom time spent on classroom management strategies, and instead the classroom time is spent hands-on, doing the activities with all 20 or 25 or 27 of them, or all have their hands on the entire 45 minutes that we're working, as opposed to maybe 15 or 20 of them and then switching. And I know that minorities and women are underrepresented in the computer science field, so I'm really hoping that exposing all 450 of my students to professionals in the career, but also just computer science skills, coding skills, will eventually develop into more, DeSoto residents becoming, into the computer science field, into hopefully those underrepresented groups as well. I'm also going to be starting a coding club in the morning before school. We have some money that we get to the district to offer clubs to our students before and after school, and so I'm going to open up a coding club every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. where they can come in and get even more coding if that's something they're really into and really get into those things before, whereas I didn't have enough space or supplies to really do that. Now I have all these extra items that the kids can get into even more once a week during a coding club.
I'm excited to see the skills that my 4th graders will have in a few years after they have gotten all of the opportunities from kindergarten on, to see how then they can be more creative in their presentations and have better research skills, and then even help each other, because it's neat to see when they group together what they can teach each other to make their presentation more interesting, or just share the knowledge that they've learned from something in class. I'm
hoping that as they age up into middle school and high school, they're able to take what they learn here, and coding would even become sort of just a second language to them. It's just sort of a natural thing. So then it will develop into, we can develop the middle school and the high school curriculums from there, even as the students just become familiar from age 5 on how to do coding.
We colored this dot, and we had an app, and we could scan it, and it made the ball come alive.
Do you know what you want to be when you grow up? What do you think, Titus?
I want to be a scientist.
So there are some things that Jaimee's doing in her classroom where she front loads some skills that we can then use in our classroom, which makes then instructional time for me focus more on those skills rather than having to learn myself and then teach them. And so she's doing that for us as a way to kind of partner and do cross-curricular work. We are very grateful for the opportunity. This could not have been done without this grant.
I definitely want to thank them for the opportunity. It's really been an equalizer, especially for students with maybe some differences that may be neurodivergent, who struggle. When we were trying to do things in groups of 5 or 6, they really struggled, and it was a barrier. They could not participate. They just could not handle the social situation that was required in a group that large. But now that it's just them and one other partner, and they can get their hands on it more, it really has helped include them. But I also just appreciate the fact that they, took a risk on 450 kids' future, and that they're going to develop up into middle school and high school and really make a difference in a large scale with 450 students affected. So thank you.
Thanks for New Tech Lab.